All right, this one's going to be on KOReader. It is a document viewer mainly for e-ink devices. You know those black and white, low power e-reader. That's what it's mainly for. But I'm gonna demonstrate out here on Linux. They do support it with what do they support it with? A bunch of other besides Linux, you can do it on Android, which you can download this stuff from the F-Droid repositories, and some of these other brands like the Kobos, the Remarkable, the PocketBook, and I have the Kindle. Was it one? Paperwhite 1 and 2. It works in both. So I got one of those old ones, and I use KOReader in here. So that's why I'm back to using Calibre for this, and I'll show you why I started using this, and I like it. Right. So this is the program on Linux here, but real simple. If you want to get the menu, you actually click on the top here, or if you're on an Android or any touchscreen devices, it'll be in the top. So you just click on top there, and you have this menu. And the reason why I like this is that you can actually wirelessly mount, to your Calibre devices. And also, if you don't want to use your computer or whatever it is, you just want to access your computer, your library, you can do that using, they call it, what was that, OPDS catalog, which I'll show you that too. But basically, I don't use Calibre, the desktop version anymore. I just have it on my server. And the one annoying thing was, if you have it in a container, right? I have it in a Podman container, and you just can't use the USB with it. Like if I try to connect my Kindle to the USB with inside that container, it doesn't work, right? So that always annoys me, and I couldn't do that. But I heard that the KOReader can do that, and that's why I started using this now, right? Anyways, let me show you what I'm talking about here. So I have my Calibre in a Podman container here, and you see this is basically like the desktop version, but it's just in a container, and I can use it, remotely using just my web browser, right? Now, if I want to, connect my devices, like normally when you connect the USB, to your device, it'll pop up like it says device icon here, which you see there's no icon that has devices, right? But when you use KOReader, you can go into Calibre here, and you do a wireless settings, right? And in here you have your server address, which mine is what's mine here? So I set it to manual, right? And I set mine to my server, which is 192.168.1.131, and the port that I'm using is 5773 here. Which, what did I map that to? 1 second. So the default port is 9090, but I mapped it to 5773 here, right? So that's what I have in here. But that's what you do, right? Otherwise, by default, is like 9090. You can change this port to 9090 if you're using the desktop version. But I'm using my server, and that's what I have here to reroute it. Anyways, you save that, and now whenever you go to your this tool icon here, and you go to Calibre, and now if I click on connect, you'll see in a minute here, right? It says connected here, and then you can see that they have this icon that you normally see when you have your USB wire connected to your Kindle or Kobo or whatever this device is you have on your e-ink devices, right? And now you can see that I can select it. I can go to my library, and I can actually send books to it. Let me send a small one here. Which one is okay? This one's 15 megs. So let's say I send this one, right? Say send to device, and you see that I'll start sending to my device, right? Look at this here. Over here it says send to devices, and now if I click on device, you see that this is the ebook that it got, right? And I can read it here. Make it bigger here. right? I can read this here, right? Real simple. And that's what I like. I like the I was missing that USB functionality because sometimes when I'm on my computer, I want to send the the ebooks to my device. It's just much quicker because I can do it on my computer using mouse and keyboard really quick, right? I have a bunch of libraries that I can access in here, and I just want to send like all the books at once. I can do that. Let's say if I want to send multiple books, let me send some small ones here. Let's say this one, and what's the other one, small one, and maybe this one, right? So those two, I'll send it, and this one I think we're gonna get out. So there you go. We send those two, and now we can exit out. Oops, close open again. KOReader. So now if I go to devices here, those two will be sent here. So you have 3 books now, right? So it's much easier to send using the, what do they call this? Wireless device connection. Basically is a wireless way to mount your devices over Wi-Fi in the same network. I don't think you can do this like remotely, but if you're doing this locally on the same router and stuff like that, it will work, right? And that's what I like about this feature. Really, this is like the only program that can do it, like KOReader. I don't think there's any other program that can sync with Calibre this way. So I love that feature alone. All right. Now they do also have like Calibre also has the content server, which I talked about a long time ago. But if you don't remember, Calibre has a content server, and this is how you would access it. Using your web interface, right? And this one's on port 5771, which is the default is 8081, but I mapped it to 57771 here, right? But you can see I can access my books this way, the web UI way, and that's if you have a computer, or phone or whatever it is that has a web browser. But if you're on an e-ink devices, those low-end e-ink devices, they usually don't have a web browser. I mean, some of them do, but it's kind of very slow, and you really don't want to use the web browser to access this stuff here. But concept's still the same. You can still access those content server, and in here with KOReader, you can actually do that too. So you do to this magnifier icon here, right? And you go to OPDS catalog. OPDS is kind of like a protocol to, I don't call it like a distributing protocol for ebooks, I guess. But anyways, you want to add in a new one, so you can do add, right? And then you fill out the name and stuff like that. So this is what I got in mind here. Let's go to edit here. So I just call it my Calibre, and you want to point it to your server, which is 192 blah blah blah, and then your port that you're using, which mine is what's that, 57771. aka if you're using the desktop version only, it'll be 8081. That's the default, right? But I'm using that port, and make sure you do /OPDS, otherwise it will not work. As far as like username and password for accounts, I don't think that works with this program, so I usually just have no password. All right. Anyways, and then you save it, and now if you want to access your content server, instead of using your web browser, you just use that protocol, right? And you can see it's pretty much the same. So if I go click on Calibre here, you see that if you have multiple libraries, right? So I have mine in different categories. So if I have like comic books in one, mangas in one, stuff like that. So you want to select your library. If you only have one, then you don't need to do any of this. But I have multiples. So I click on my books, all right, and then I do like by title or something like that. In here, they don't have a search option. That's the only negative I would say about this one, right? As opposed to the web UI one. This web UI one here, you can actually search in here, no problems, right? You can do a search, but in here, and there is no searching. You just gotta do like by title, by author, and stuff like that. And if I wanted to download one, let's say I want to download, what do we got? Banjo Kazooie here, right? I click on this one, and you can see that you can choose a different folder if you like. So let's say, for example, this is the folder you want, but if you want to choose a different folder, you can do that. If you want to look at the book cover before you download it, let's say you don't know what this is, then you can see this is the book cover, right? And so you close it here. Or you want to do a book information if you have like the metadata. I don't have any metadata, I just have like tags of it, right? So that's that. And then if I want to download it, I do download. Now if you have different formats, like let's say if you had like a CBZ file, a Mobi file, or EPUB, or whatever it is, then they'll have different ones, but this one's only PDFs, so I do PDFs. And it'll download it and it say, do you want to read it now? You can read it now, or read it later, right? And then you continue on downloading a different book, right? So that's how you access your library. Let's say if you're in the toilet and you have your e-reader with you, you don't want to bust out your computer to send files. You can just use your e-reader, and then download the books you want, and you read it, and then you're going to delete it later on, so it's not a big issue. So that's how that works if you want to do OPDS catalog with this. Pretty simple. Now the OPDS catalog, by default they do have like other projects in here. Some of them work, some of them don't work, like the Project Gutenberg. This one does work, so you can actually download some books from here, like popular ones or whatever it is. Moby Dick, okay. And let's say I want to let's say I want to download this EPUB, right? It'll just download from there, and you can read it now or whatever it is. We'll say read it later because we don't want to look at it. So that's that. Now they don't have like those other programs like what's the other ones? Like some of them doesn't work, like the Internet Archive. I guess it maybe depends on like which device you use, but sometimes it might not work. Let's see, we'll try one in here because I tried it on my yeah, see, it says forbidden 403 here. I think it might be some type of like DDoS or something. I'm not sure exactly, but it doesn't download, right? So some of them work, some of them don't. So that's what you get for doing that. Now, as far as like Calibre here, there's actually multiple places to get Calibre servers. This is a subreddit called Open Calibre. I'll probably post you in the link in the description. But you can actually use other people's content server. This thing here. A lot of people share their books and they host their own server. And so if you don't have your own server, you can actually connect to their server and then get your books that way. I'll link you in the description. But it's basically if you go to the subreddit called Open Calibre, they have a bunch of them. Like there's literally a lot of them, right? Anyways, that's mainly what I started using KOReader for, but they do have other stuff in here. This thing is amazing. What's the other one I want to talk about? If you ever use an RSS reader, this one doesn't have an RSS reader. It just has a news downloader. But basically, you're downloading the RSS. So, for example, they do have, what is that here? Edit news. They have two of them here. So, let's say if I want to download, sync news here, you can actually add your own feeds that you have. But what it does is that it goes through the feeds. It'll convert that page or whatever it is to an EPUB file, and it can use KOReader to read it. Right, it doesn't actually strip out like the annoying stuff like the footer and header and just grab the body only, But you know, if you have like maybe you have to like use it with, what's the other one I talked about, full text RSS here. If you maybe use it with like full text RSS, you can actually like get the feeds, and then it'll strip out like all the, you know, the garbage, which I haven't tried it with this one yet, but I'm pretty sure you can do the same thing. You use that, and it'll strip out like all the junk, and then you just have like, you know, your feeds that you want to read. So let's say, for example, if I want to read it now, right? You just go to downloader. You go to news folder, and in here, it would just be separated up by different folders. So if I want to go into this here, and I can just read the EPUB, right? And you see, like I said, it doesn't strip out like all the garbage, footer and header, and like advertisement and stuff like that. So you're left with that stuff, right? Anyways, we'll close out this book here, and that's pretty much it for like the main stuff I want to talk about. But if you want to do other stuff, like they have cloud storage here, and you can do like Dropbox, FTP, WebDev, which I haven't tried any of this stuff, but you can do SSH too. So depending on which device you use, you can actually set up a SSH server, and then you can do like, you know, transfer it that way too if you like. But just those two ones I talked about is really enough. You know, the was the one that you need to do. So if you have the caliber um, set up, right, the only thing you need to set up in here is if you want to do the wireless device connection, aka mounting your devices on here, you need to set this one up here. So by default, this one will be off, and let's say we turn on here. So by default, right, this is what you'll see, and you want to do a port. I think the default port is 9090, right? And make sure you say use fixed port, and then you make sure you check this thing if you want it to automatically start up. That's what I like to do, because I'm on a you know, this thing's on a container server, right, a headless server. So I just want to do that and hit OK, and that's pretty much it for the wireless sync stuff, right? And the other one is the content server here. If you want this to automatically start up also, you can do, what was the one? You go to your preferences here. Let's see here. Preferences. You go to share. What is that? Share over the net here. And you want to do is, what is that? Run server automatically when Calibre starts up. You check that box, apply it, and then you probably have to reboot your container, and then you know, it will automatically start up everything. And so that's what I got here for you know, my ebook server. You know, I was about to get rid of Calibre just because I couldn't do that USB mounting thing, but then I found like a KOReader, and I'm back. I mean, I still might have to get rid of Calibre in the future, because some of these other newer programs, they are getting better and better, like Audio Bookshelf and stuff like that. But Audio Bookshelf don't have a way to sync it with KOReader yet. Maybe in the future they have like an OPDS or a wireless transfer type of way, but right now they don't have any of that stuff. So that's why I'm using this. And the good thing about like KOReader is that I don't have to convert stuff anymore, even if I'm on a Kindle, right? Because normally, when you're on a Kindle, they only support like Mobi files, or what's the other one, AZW3 or whatever the crap they have for the extension. But this thing, it supports straight up EPUBs, right? PDFs and CBZ files, right? I have my mangas, my comics in CBZs. I don't want to convert the stupid thing to Mobi files, or whatever it is, right? I just want to have it CBZs, and this thing supports it right out of the box, so you don't have to convert stuff anymore. And that will save me a lot of space too, because you know, usually when I have my Caliber, I have the original, and then I have a converted Mobi file, and it's just a waste of space. I don't need that. So that's another reason you want to use, you know, KOReader. And they also have this thing, I can't believe this. They have a sync server, right? So let's say, for example, you have multiple devices, guys, and you know, let's say you have one on your Android, you have one on your computer, and then you have one on your e-ink devices, right? And you're reading the same book, and you know you want to sync it up. So when you reading on your Android devices, you know, you're on page 5, right? And then you push that to your server, which is this you know, what's this one called, KOReader sync server. And then once you get to the other device, you do a pull, and it'll pull, and then you'll be on the same page where you left off. This is actually pretty cool for an offline um, you know, solution, and it's amazing. I tried it out and it works fine. So if you want to set this up on your server also, pretty simple, right? Just follow the directions here. So that's a KOReader sync server, and this is how you would access it. So for example, if I was opening a book here, so this book, and I was on, I don't know, what is this, what is, that looks crap. Okay, let's say on this page here, and what was that one? You actually have to open a book, and then you'll see the in this toolbox here, it says progress sync here, and then I can do a push, right? I push this to the device, and it says it's been pushed. And then when you get to like you know, like let's say your other devices or other computers, you can go in there and you go progress sync, and then you do a pull, and it'll pull it down, right? And that's how that works. Pretty cool. I don't know. This thing's amazing, guys. Just because the fact that I can, you know, wireless sync and just download my books on, you know, on the fly over Wi-Fi. I don't have to like be tied down anymore. Anyways, that's KOReader in a nutshell. And if you have one of those e-reader, you know, that helps you with your eyes, just black and white text, this is gonna be like mainly what I recommend it for. You know, if you have one of those e-readers, if you have an Amazon Kindle, like the old one, you have to jailbreak it to install KOReader. But it's actually very easy to jailbreak those old was it Paperwhite 1, 2. That's the two that I have there. Really simple, and install KOReader, and then you automatically have all these features that I just talked about. And it's, and you do need like you know, caliber if you want to have it like access the same way that I do it. Otherwise, like I said, you can also access other people's database, right? Using, what was that, subreddit, open caliber on Reddit. Anyways, long video, but hopefully you see why I like it. That'll be it for this one.